Hello and welcome to a video talking about the upcoming merge for TERA on consoles. Now the PC version will be merged later on, but I'm here to talk about the console version only. So what is happening with this merge? Perhaps you've never done a merge before, so this may be pretty new to you. So they're merging all the servers together, so each region will either have one PvE server and one PvP server, or one single PvE server. The PlayStation North American server, all the PvE servers are going to be merged together into one single server, as well as their PvP servers, which will be merged into one single big PvP server, and that goes out all through the regions of PlayStation EU and Xbox One North America. They'll each have one single player versus environment server and one player versus player server. The Xbox One EU, however, will only have one single PvE server. I don't know what has happened to the PvP server. They might not have had one originally, but you're only going to have one single server. It's a very aggressive merge, and it does raise many questions. For example, the PlayStation EU, where I currently play, 3 of the servers are always on high population. On any of those 3 servers, if you go to high watch, it's very laggy because there's so many players in a very small area, which raises the questions of if these new servers are going to be able to handle the general population, as the performance is already very unstable. So having more players on the server is going to cause a lot more problems. The PlayStation EU has raised a lot of questions. I know the other regions aren't doing as well, but Malagos, for example, is my server. It does not need merging at all. It really doesn't. The very first channel in nearly every single zone in the game is always on high population, or medium depending on your time of day. It does not need merging. It's like the Skull server, it does not need merging together. It was only the Overflow servers that they introduced at the game's launch that needed to be merged in together. The PvP servers, yes, I agree, they need to be merged together because it's not that popular. That's fair enough, but it does raise a few questions. So what is actually going to happen to your characters? Well, if you only have a handful of characters, then not a lot. You can just simply sit back and wait for the merge to happen, and it'll be like nothing really happened except there's a much bigger population. But if you have a lot of characters, this is going to be quite a bad experience for you. So each server can hold up to 16 characters. That's the cap on how many characters you can have on the server if you were to buy slots to make new characters. So if you have more than 16, you're going to be at a bit of a impasse basically, because you're going to have to delete other characters. Now, En Masse have stated they will not automatically delete characters, but if the server can only hold 16 characters, then it does raise the question of if they will be automatically deleted or not. So you are going to have to part way with quite a few characters if you did make a lot of characters, or you can just skim the fat basically of these little low-level alts you've made testing out classes, just to try and bring yourself to this 16 cap or lower. So what actually happens to those 16 characters on your new server? Well, you're still limited by your character slot limit. This isn't the server limit on slots, this is how many character slots you have physically bought or obtained through events. They have very kindly handed everyone 5 extra character slots, which should alleviate a lot of trouble, but you'll still be around 7 or 8 slots in total. So what will happen to the characters above that limit? Well, you'll still have them on your server, which is good, but you will not be able to play the game. In order to play the game, you'll need to delete characters to bring yourself within your slot limits, which is making a lot of people upset, which is fair enough. People have spent money on their characters, and now they're potentially going to have to either fork out for extra character slots or having to delete that character. It's a very sticky situation, and it's one that I'm thankfully not in. However, I have been in a situation like this in other MMOs. This isn't my first merge. So your character slot limit, now I've mentioned this and I probably should have mentioned this earlier, is your amount of slots that you bought. So that's pretty easy to understand, but let's say you bought character slots on multiple different servers. They will not be added together on this new server. No, it will take your highest slot count and give you that. So let's say on server A you bought 6 character slots, and on server B you bought 5 character slots. On the new server you'll have 6 character slots in total. If I am wrong, please do correct me in the comment section below, and I'll probably take down this video and redo it to be more informative. So to round things off with the whole character slot thing, make sure you're within your highest character slot limit. It doesn't matter if the characters are spread out across multiple servers. Once the merge is done, all those characters will be on one single server and you should be good to go. But what about your character names? Now this is the horrible part of merging in any MMORPG. Character names, there's going to be a lot of confliction because there'll be more than one character called the same thing. So for example, a character called Lolly, which I've seen on my server, that's on every single server I've been on. I've seen a player called that. When the merge is done, it's going to be a confliction because there's now multiple characters with the same name. So what En Masse is doing is going to give the name to the player with the highest play time. If you don't have the highest play time, then you're going to be forced to rename. You'll be given a free rename, so that's all fine, but you will still lose your name. I know for one that I'm going to lose both my names because I haven't played my two main characters that much, and I know the person on the other server has played a lot more with my current names. I'm upset about it because I did buy a Founders Edition just to grab those names, but there's not much you can do in this type of situation. So once again, your name will be determined by the highest playtime. The highest playtime will obtain the name, and if you don't, you'll be forced to rename. That is non-negotiable and they will not release the name to anyone else, so don't bother sending in a ticket. So as for guilds and their membership, all of that will be preserved except for the guild name. That will follow the same process as the character names, except this time it's going to be creation date, which determines who gets to keep the name. If your guild was created at a later date, they'll be forced to rename. As for the other little tidbits, your friend list will remain the same. However, if someone on your friend list was forced to rename, that name will be updated on your list. The broker will still be the same, your mail will all still be there, your bank will all still be there, and your item claims will all still be there. But for your bank, so let's say you have on multiple different servers your bank all completely filled up. When you merge together, you'll be given a temporary bank thing which will hold all your other storage items, and you'll still need to remove those items from the extra storage before you can use your normal bank. So that is it for this video. It's not a nice experience being merged. It does raise a few questions, however, how they're going to handle people who spent money on a lot of characters, and the fact that PlayStation EU PvE servers are being merged together when two of the big servers really don't need it, and whether or not they're going to upgrade the performance of the game in order to run at a decent frame rate in crowded areas. Leave a comment below if you have a different opinion on this server merge. I do like reading other people's opinions on things, as well as pointing out any mistakes I have made. I do appreciate that. So thank you all for watching, and I'll be back with another video probably sometime after the merge. Bye bye.